I'm Dr. Charles Majors. I practice right outside Chicago, Illinois. I'm a maximized living chiropractor. And a while back, I began getting severe migraine headaches and not knowing what it was at all. The headaches were getting worse. Didn't know what it was. It went from getting headaches on a regular basis where I was passing out, couldn't take care of people anymore, to literally waking up in the morning and not being able to actually go into the office to take care of people. I'd have to stay home for 2 to 3 days, then I could get up and move. And not knowing what it was, I went into a natural doctor who looked and diagnosed me with Lyme disease. The Lyme came back clear. Something else was going on. Because I don't go to doctors much, or I know it's for crisis care, I never thought I was in a crisis. As they got more severe, as I couldn't work very much anymore, as I was getting weak a lot, when it began affecting me as a father and as a husband, and it affected me, taking care of patients, that is when I finally said it's time to look a little bit more in depth of what's going on. I woke up in one morning, the headaches were so bad I began throwing up, and I knew that it was time, like they said. So I went in for an MRI. I went in about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They let us know that as soon as they had the results, they'd let us know, they would call us. Got home, went to sleep at around 5 o'clock. I woke up with my wife on top of me and my oldest son on top of me. At the time, my son was about 8 years old, and both crying. And I woke up, thinking somebody died in the family. I don't know what, that's how bad they were crying. And my wife told me I had to immediately go to Northwestern Hospital, which is in downtown Chicago. The radiologist read my film, just plain film. He held up my MRI. Immediately he saw not one tumor in the brain, he saw 4 tumors. The radiologist who was reading it couldn't believe that I was still even functioning because the tumors were so big on the brainstem. They thought for sure, they said, you looked young, you looked healthy. At that time, they said these must just be some benign tumors. This wouldn't be too bad, but we need to get in there and get those out. So when I got into the room, the neurosurgeon, the doctors came in, and they looked at my wife and they said, you don't want to be in here for this. And I was getting nervous then. They had to saw down, put a tube in here to begin getting the extra fluid out of the body. And I'm not one for medication or not, but at that time you're saying, please numb me out, do something, because they're about to drill a hole in my head. And they can't give you any sedation, nothing, because if something's going wrong, you have to know to tell them. They said, well, we need to get you prepped for surgery. All we need to do is go in there and remove those tumors, and you should be okay. I woke up not too much longer later, and I remember them just all sitting there, and it looked like somebody had died. My wife's crying, family's crying, but they're all trying to hold it back, and no one was saying anything to me. I had a tube down my throat from the surgery, I had a tube coming out of my head, and no one was telling me anything at that time. The neurosurgeon who was going in there began to cut on the first tumor, and as soon as he started cutting, it started bleeding. In that moment, he said, this is no longer a benign tumor, it's cancer. The bad news is, this isn't just brain cancer, it's metastasized, it's in your bone marrow, 37% of your blood is making cancer. He said, there is no cure, there's not much hope for this.
I remember the day before I left, I got real sick. And he said, well, they found tumor in your nose. He went to make a phone call, and he came back and he said something about the chemo. And I said, why are you talking about chemo? And he said, honey, you've got cancer. And I looked at him. I remember I pointed a finger at him. I said, you are a liar. And he looked at me, and I said, how do you know I have cancer? you told me that it will be Monday before you find out anything, and you just took out the tissue from my nose. And then he said, honey, I can't wait. We can't wait till Monday. April 25th, 2010, that's when I got diagnosed with cancer, which is they call nasopharyngeal cancer. It's behind my sinus. And it was like right there touching my skull, and they're afraid that it's gonna go into my brain. So it was kind of shock when I first found out.
Back last year, August 1st of 2012, I was headed to a conference in Los Angeles when I received a call from my doctor in the airport informing me that I had cancer, cervical cancer, that they had found a tumor, and that I needed to get back home to have surgery. When I was diagnosed with the cancer, that pretty much threw me for a loop, and that began a huge journey for me in my life.
I found the lump in my breast myself, and I immediately called my doctor, and I went in, and she just did an exam, and then she set me up for a mammogram. So I went and had a mammogram, and they were pretty. They said it was really suspicious. It's really suspicious, and so they set me up to have a biopsy with a surgeon. And the first biopsy I had, and it came back negative, and the surgeon was just like, I really think it's cancer. I want to do it again. I want to do a deeper biopsy.
About 2.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with smoldering multiple myeloma. I got a feel for it when I called my oldest daughter. She's an oncologist, and she didn't give me any numbers, but just her reaction let me know that I was facing a serious challenge. In my research, typically when you're diagnosed with smoldering multiple myeloma, it will progress into multiple myeloma, and the lifespan that they usually outline for you is 5 to 7 years.
I had chemo in the morning. In the afternoon, I had to go downstairs to get my radiation. The doctor talked to me that I would need to have a tube put in because I won't be able to eat. And I asked him, and I said, why do you have to do chemo and radiation at the same time? And he said it was very aggressive. I didn't think about the side effect, after the treatment.
One of the things that I knew that I wasn't going to do was have chemo and radiation. I've known enough through studying that chemo and radiation was just not an option.
He was already saying, prepare yourself, we're going to go through radiation, you're going to go through menopause, you're going to go, we just have to decide if we want to do chemo first or radiation first, and then, you're going to be on tamoxifen for probably 5 years, and, he was just laying out the whole thing before we even knew to the extent or if it even was cancer or not.
It wasn't until I opened up on the internet, I Googled, which you shouldn't always do, but I Googled my cancer as a multiple myeloma metastasized to the brain. I Googled it, and it would say no hope, no cure, it was devastating death, and your bones rot and decay, on and on and on. I would get a very nervous then. You'd slowly start to lose a little bit of hope. Even with chemotherapy, radiation, and bone marrow transplant, they were thinking there's only months I would probably survive. And then finally I was smart enough to go, well, wait a minute, has anyone ever reversed this? And then I thought to myself, if no one's reversed this, I'll be the first. And so I knew that if I was at this point and I came through this, and I was going to, I'm going to be able to change more people's lives. I began studying what cancer is, why does it happen in the body, and by studying it, I knew I could then find the approach to get rid of it. The doctors, the oncologists, they kind of looked at me and said good luck, pretty much, but they understood. And I went to see Dr. Forsyth, who's one of the top natural oncologists in this area. was tough was the morning they let me out of the hospital. They were going to be putting me on a plane to Reno, Nevada. I was in a wheelchair. I knew I wanted to go home first to see my children. As positive as I was, there's always in the back of your mind, what if I don't see them again? It was my wife and I, we knew we had to leave them there. There's no way they're going to be able to be with me all those 3 weeks to go through everything I was going to go through. So we literally, that was probably one of the hardest things both of us did, was leave 3 children at home and head to Reno, Nevada, and hoping we were going to the right place. When I was sitting in that hospital bed, and laying there in that hospital bed, if I didn't have the right mindset, if I thought it was over, I would have jumped right into whatever those doctors were telling me and not listened to what I should have been doing. I would have listened to them, and who knows where I'd be right now. Our second essential in maximized living is corrective nerve supply and having a good nerve system. And that was crucial for me, from all the damage I did to my body, from all the years from adjusting to the sporting activities I did. I destroyed myself. And so it was so important that I got my nerve system back clear, because the only way my organs function, the only way my immune system works to fight this cancer is my brain sends a message down the spinal cord to heal it. And so we know that every cell of our body grows and dies every single day. And so those cells have to have nutrients to survive, and without nutrients, our cells can't replicate. And so we knew how important, number one is I had to get the right nutrients into my body and stop putting in the bad things into my body that was affecting it. Oxygenation is so crucial, bringing in the right amount of oxygen into the body. Every cancer cell is hypoxic, which means it doesn't have enough oxygen. And so it's crucial that we're working with patients that they're getting the essential oxygen on a regular basis, that they're exercising on a regular basis, exercising the right way. I was exercising the wrong way for all those years. If your body can't detox what we're bringing into our body on a regular basis, then we become sick and diseased faster. We get cancers faster. Yeah, so after I left Reno, Nevada, I came back home, still doing a lot of the natural treatments and doing all kinds of protocols. That's when the gratefulness comes in, and thank God, that what I went through.
We were living the typical American lifestyle with myself, my wife, and our children, and it had a lot to do with no exercising, eating a lot of empty carbs, a lot of fast food. Things were kind of going the way that most traditional American families go. And then once my wife was diagnosed with cancer, we had a choice to make.
He pulled me aside and said, I'm going to do everything possible to help you. I have a system of protocols that I can go through that have helped me. And I said, well, I'm agreeable to that.
And I said, this is it. This is where I want to be. This is what I was missing.
This cancer would be beat. They gave me an expiration date of August 1st of 2013. And so I knew that I needed to do something.
As we began our research, we soon found out that there were alternative ways to combat cancer and to actually find out what's causing the cancer. And that's when the diet change came in, the chiropractic care came in.
So I started on a supplement regimen, and it seems to have had great effect on my health. Going to organic foods has seemed to have a great effect on my life.
I thought I did everything that I could, but I was missing number 2 essential, the nervous system.
I immediately took out all the sugar, all the grains. I began juicing. I began eating a lot more raw foods.
Because in the past 2.5 years, my smoldering multiple myeloma has not advanced at all. And they say in African American males, it's real aggressive.
And being in his care, we were surrounded by lots of other like-minded people that were supporting us in an all-natural, holistic way of fighting things through the 5 essentials. And that pretty much changed not only our lives, but our children's lives for future generations.
Cancer can happen to anybody. It doesn't choose who you are. It doesn't choose, if you're rich or you're poor. It doesn't choose if you're fat or you're skinny. It doesn't choose if you're young or you're old. It doesn't choose if you're smart or not smart. It doesn't choose if you're success or unsuccess. It can happen to anybody. If anybody that, watching and listening, and if they, don't think that they're gonna get cancer, they have to think again.
I can remember being in the hospital, and they would say, you're gonna be up on stage again speaking and telling everyone how you reverse this. 2 years after I was diagnosed, you can see right there, I was in London at the Olympics, and right now, sitting here now, it's been now 3 years, and I'm still working just as hard as I did from the first day I left that hospital. And so this is something I'll do probably for the rest of my life, because if I slow down on this once and stop living the lifestyle I'm living now, there's always that chance, could it ever come back again? And I'm never going to let that happen. I mean, when I'm speaking at Maximize Living seminars and meeting doctors from all over, from Puerto Rico and all over Canada and United States, every time you're hearing how lives are being saved and changed from this book. And so, again, I always say that everything I went through was making it worth it now more than ever. I mean, it's amazing to see the difference in patients' lives who come into the office, because our job as Maximize Living chiropractors is not to reverse their cancer. Our job isn't to cure their cancer. Our job is to prevent them from ever getting cancer in the first place.